Hello, this is Doug Cunnington here. This is the Friday Q&A. So I'll be answering questions. All your questions that you have, I will answer them. So there's a couple things I'm going to cover today, and I hear myself talking, so that's a good thing. All right, so give me a shout in the chat. Let me know where you're from, if it's your first live stream or anything like that. Always interested to hear. So a couple things we'll talk about today. One, 5-figure niche site. My premium course is open for enrollment, but only for about 14 more hours. I say 13 in the description, not knowing when people are going to hop on. But yeah, if you're interested in starting a site, I recommend you have a look there. That is sort of the blueprint, and there's a lot of success stories out there from 5-figure niche site students. In fact, I published 4 of them this week on Tuesday. If you didn't see those, you should check them out. But they are literally students that enrolled like in the last year or so, and they're making various amounts of money, but it's the blueprint they've used, and it's the blueprint they've used. So I encourage you to check it out. Couple other things I'm going to point out before we get into it. Feel free to start asking questions. I see Subham, Brian, and Joe. Who is Joe? I do have a frequently asked questions section, and that's listed like in the bottom, at the bottom of the description, where all the questions are. So if you have a look there, you can go to nichesiteproject.com/FAQ. And a lot of times, whatever question you're thinking of, I've already answered it. So have a look there before you ask it. It's a little bit helpful, and hopefully people in the chat like Kelly and Toki, Brian, Subham, you could point people towards that and just say like, hey, go to the FAQ, because it takes me a while to go through the questions. A few were sent in overnight, by the way. So a couple other things I'll point out. There are some affiliate links in the description, clearly marked. I get a commission if you use them. I do appreciate it if you do, but no pressure. Next is, a couple good questions were sent in. And since there aren't too many questions yet, I'm gonna mention a few things about 5-figure niche site, which I'll go back to from time to time as we get more people on. Rajit's on as well. So I'm gonna go to one of the questions here. This is from Will. Says, is it important to add no-follow links to other sites like Wirecutter, Consumer Reports when I put them in my articles? The answer is no. And in general, I would say, you want to have do-follow links because it's the right thing to do. So if you keep that in mind, then that's better. All right. If a lot of people will have in their head, oh, I want to keep link juice on my site, I don't think it matters. In fact, I started linking to some competitors sometimes just to see what would happen. And in general, like if you're linking to good sources, then your readers will appreciate it. So if you always have your readers in mind, that'll be the best thing you could do. Duke is on, one of the kind moderators. Thanks, Duke, for coming on. Dave asks, what if your page is already ranking for a specific KGR and then you find, again, another KGR, but then again, your site is ranking much lower? Can a single page rank for multiple KGRs and rank on the first page for all of them? How can we optimize that single page to rank for multiple KGRs? That's from Dave. So the thing is, there's another question coming up that's even deeper with that, but it's from the other perspective. So my advice is to try and publish individual articles for the KGR and then observe the results over the course of, say, 2 to 6 months. See what happens. All right. So you wait to see what happens. And then if you're ranking on the first page for each one of those, that's great. You're getting the traffic. You're serving the specific user that's looking for the specific KGR term. However, if you do not, if you're trying to like put all the keywords into one page, you may or may not get the results you expect. So the point is, you can't guess and know for 100% that you have guessed the right thing. You have to publish them together or separately and then react to the results. That is the best way to do it because, to my knowledge, every niche, every keyword set is a little different. So there's no like blanket answer for that. Tao's on. What's up? Good to have you on. And Rajit said you have a site that made over $1,000. Is that like your revenue, your commissions were $1,000? Just curious. And Nitish, what's up? I'm doing pretty good today. I got a lot of sleep last night, which was nice. I've for a couple days this week, I was just sleeping for about 6 hours or so. I would just sort of wake up early. It's a little warm in the house and all that. So I would just wake up and just get up and start working or walk Georgie, whatever. But last night, I got to bed a little bit early, a little bit earlier, and got over 8 hours of sleep per my Fitbit. So that was good, and I feel good, more energy today. All right. So Kelly asks, do I have any advice or tips for assessing the competition for a particular KGR term? Yes. So I talk about this more in the course. And Kelly, basically, you just Google it and then find out what Google is providing in their results, and then you have an idea on whether you're going to be able to compete. Within the course, I have like a more complex competition analysis worksheet, but in general, for KGR terms, you wouldn't use that kind of a sheet. You would just Google it and see what happens. So, Raison, what's up? Abhinav, good to have you on. And Duke says you've had success doing 3 KGR terms in a page, product A versus B versus C. And I think that's a great way to do it. Now, some of the other phrases may not work as well. The verses, perfect, because they can stand alone in the correct order and everything. However, if you have like product X, best product X for user type Y, and best product X for user type like Y and Z and A, like you're going to have potentially an issue cramming all that in. And this is kind of more related to the other question that Joseph asked, which I'll get to in a second. And Rajit says, yeah, so you made $1,000 today. Awesome. Really cool. Congratulations. And is that typical? Like what's your site pulling in per month as a reference? And are you using KGR terms or not? All right. And then, okay, this is a perfect example. So Tao says you created an FAQ page in your niche using KGR keywords as the headlines, no traffic. Then you split them out into separate posts, lots of traffic. And I did this, a similar thing for Niche Site Project, and not necessarily the FAQ page, but taking like consolidated content and then spreading it out into more logical way. And basically it worked really well. More traffic is coming in just in general. So I think if you have too much stuff on one page, even though long form content is preferred, like if someone has a question and they just want an answer, it's usually better to just serve that and do it. All right. This next question was sent in from Leo. You're using the KGR technique. You're using keywords everywhere to find keywords. I can find general, quote, general keywords that are less than 250. When you do an all in title search, keywords everywhere will show 0. Should this result be ignored? Any comments are appreciated. Thanks in advance. Okay, so you shouldn't ignore the 0, but it's irrelevant. So Leo, you should make sure you're understanding how to use the tools that you have. Basically, it's keywords everywhere is saying that no one is searching for all in title with the keyword, because the only people doing that are like SEOs. It's very rare where someone is using these advanced search strings in Google. Just very rare. Usually it's an SEO savvy person. So it doesn't matter that no one's searching for it, because it's weird if people search for it. Occasionally, because if I'm looking for a footprint for something specific, I will use like an in URL or in title or something like that if I'm trying to find like some really specific result. And that's weird because no one, like my relatives wouldn't search for that, because it's very unusual to know these advanced search strings. So you can ignore it. Renoa says, do I display the metadata of the articles, like the name, the author, the name of the author, the date, or any other comment numbers? If you're posting once a week, showing the meta seems an easy way to make your site seem outdated. So for some sites, I put the date. For some sites, I don't. If it's relevant, like if the date is a relevant thing, then maybe post it, but it doesn't really matter and you can update it more often. It's totally up to you. You don't have to put that in there if you don't want to. All right. Couple questions popped up in the chat. Welcome everyone, by the way. And I'll do a little announcement after I get the questions in here. Okay, so Kelly says, how many posts do the guys on the success stories post per week? What's the ideal number? It doesn't matter. So I don't know how many they post, but it doesn't matter at all how many you post per week. I don't think it's relevant necessarily for you to try to match what other people are doing, because you could end up making a mistake. And Kelly, I know a little bit more about your specific position on your site, but it doesn't matter how much you post per week. It really doesn't matter at all. However, I will say that the people on the success stories that I published this week from Five Figure Niche Site, they have, varying amounts of content. So I know Jo, she only has like 13 posts or so. And, she published them a while back. It was a really slow growth. There's not a ton of links, stuff like that. And then all the way to the upper end, I think that Graham has about 75 posts or so in that range. And he's making about 1,400 plus per month. And he has, actually, I don't think he has very many links, maybe a few comments out there. But the point is, the more content you have, the more opportunities you have to get traffic. But as far as publishing per week, doesn't matter. So publish as much as you can based on your budget and limitations. That's the best way to look at it. Okay. Rajit says, you're only using KGR terms. You have 53 posts, all over 2,500 words, and you just pulled in over $1,000 today. So congratulations. That's awesome. And that goes to show, like, you don't have to have a ton of content, even though that's fairly long form. I would say all over 2,500 words. That's a great way to do it. Steven says, is there a certain format for how-to or informational articles? No. Asim says, is 700 words enough for a KGR post? It depends. I would publish more if I were you. Berserk says, hey, Doug, will my articles rank if links are only being pointed at the homepage? It depends, but maybe. Yeah. Natish says, Rajit, I saw your site yesterday. It's nice because you've written 50 articles and each of them is over 2,500 words. Cool. Philip says, when using keywords everywhere, should I go with global or US? I would say US. It depends on what you're targeting. If you're aiming for like the UK, then use UK or whatever. Global, probably not, but US is what I would use. All right. Kalik says, you're on the fence about the course. What is holding you back as you realize I focus more on keyword research and content creation and much lesser. Even on your sales page, you focus on guest post and outreach. Okay. Is backlinking really covered loosely in the course? Because I noticed the advanced option is where PBN and Gray Hat is covered. All right. Kalik, feel free to send me a message where I could talk about it a little bit more. But basically, actually, can you ask a little bit deeper? So backlinking is covered, but I focus on purely the essential stuff. And here's the deal with the course, and I'll actually mention it a little bit more now. So my course is open for enrollment for the people that just joined the live stream. It's only open for until the end of the day today, so another like 14 hours or so. Basically, a lot of what the course is focusing on the essential stuff that gets you most of the results. So do I show you everything about link building? No, I've stripped away most of the stuff that doesn't work. You could do things like, actually, I don't have any like really awesome examples, but you could do things that, actually, like if you there's some techniques where you can like go to a specific site and, set up a profile, and then you have the ability to like put do follow links in your profile, linking back to your site, even your money pages, that sort of thing. I don't focus on those sort of things. I focus more on like like you said, the guest posting and the way to network in an effective way to network so that you stand out from the crowd. I do strip away all the extra stuff that, maybe you get a 1% gain or something like that. And I show you what you can do to get 80, 90% there. And if you just focus on those things, they will work. All right. So that is kind of the focus of the course, where I'm only focusing on the essentials, getting rid of all the noise. And then after you go through, then you're able to layer on the additional nuances and that sort of thing afterwards. All right. Cool. And Khalik, just let me know if you have further questions. There's a chat feature on the sales page of the site. So I think that'll give you a good idea. And the thing is, I believe focusing on the essentials is really important because of all the information that you probably already have, right? There's probably tons of stuff that you already know that you could do, and you're not sure what to focus on. So a lot of it is like the framework to do certain things in the right order, putting emphasis at the right place instead of you spinning your wheels trying to figure out like, oh, how should I format this post? Do I need to have like a yellow section, a box around it, and like have the check boxes instead of, like a checklist and X's for the pros and cons. All that stuff doesn't matter. So if all of a sudden you're freed up from the stuff that doesn't matter, you could focus better on the things that do work. All right, cool. As I go through, I see a couple more questions were coming through here. All right. So a couple things I'll mention on the course because it's relevant. We'll talk about it now. So one of the big things is the ability to get support. So you have the ability to send me an email and I have one person that helps me with some common questions that come through. But basically, I read 100% of the emails. And if you have a question, I'll get back to you, right? So you get an answer within 24 to 36 hours during normal business hours. And in general, I can go more in depth. So when I get questions here on the live streams, there's only so much information I can give. There's only, so many details you could share with me. And then it's sometimes not helpful. I mean, you could tell with some of the answers, for example, here's one. Asim says, you have 7 posts on your site, all KGR, only 1 is ranking. Is it because your content is only 700 words, or is there any other reason? There's like an infinite number of reasons. Not infinite, but there's so many reasons that you could be having an issue, but I can't really get into it here. So that's a good example of a question where I can't really answer it very well. It could be like, there's probably like 8 to 10 really common things that it could be. So it could be the length, but it could be other things. If you were a member of the course, you can send me an email and I could go look and then check it out. The other part is inner circle sessions. So these are very small sessions. There's usually only like 10 or so people in there. And it's sort of like this. It's a webinar, except there's only a few people and everyone has skin in the game. Everyone has paid to be part of the course and they have a baseline level of knowledge where you're getting very good questions and very helpful. In fact, I know some of the people in the chat are members of the course, and it's super helpful to hear someone ask a question and then you get their point of view, even if they don't talk about their site or anything like that, but super helpful. And there's 6 of those sessions for the advanced and premium members. There are interviews with niche site entrepreneurs. So I talked to several different people, folks like Dom Wells. I know a lot of people know Dom from Human Proof Designs. Kevin Graham, he's been on a lot of podcasts, has a nice portfolio of sites himself. Rob Atkinson, business partner of mine from other projects and a good friend of mine. And then a few other people as well, Dave Fox. And I think there's a few more, but people that are sort of under the radar, you may not know them. That's in the advanced section. The other advanced training is on email list building for niche sites, other affiliate programs aside from Amazon, and then a 6-figure exit, selling a niche site the right way, and just sort of preparing for that. So I'll pause here and answer a couple more questions here. Right. Um, Subham asked the question, but I think Duke answered it. Subham, really important to understand the tools you're using and what the data means. So that is a common mistake where the question is the competition level shown on certain tools basically is the opposite of what you think. So really important to understand how to use your tools. I made that same mistake on my first site where I didn't understand that the competition was for the ads, right? So that the data is pulled from a source where the audience is not us. So you got to keep that in mind. And I see that people are asking about Rajit's site, and Rajit, hopefully you're not going to share it. I recommend people keep their sites private just as a matter of principle. Okay. All right. Next, Michael's on. What's up? And Philip says, any thoughts on Cloudflare? Your hosting is German. Will Cloudflare help? Potentially. I don't use Cloudflare personally. I use Max CDN or whatever it's called now. And I find that it helped my site load faster. So if your hosting is in the, German area, the Germany area, then potentially it will load faster in other sites. Kelly says, do I have any tips on how to find a good writer? At what point should you start paying for content? All the Upwork seems to be about $50 an hour. Okay. So Kelly, you should hire a writer whenever you have the budget to allow for it. I actually recommend you probably hire them as soon as possible, just so you can start small. As far as finding a good writer, I would refer you to some of my videos on hiring writers or the content on Niche Site Project to hire writers. There's like templates, all the stuff that I use there. They will work so you should post a job and then see who provides a proposal, let them know your budget, and then you should get proposals that are good. If you just look on Upwork for people's rates, those are really misleading because they put a higher rate on there so that they will get higher offers. So I just hired a writer the other day. She said her rate was like I think it was like 40 to 50 bucks an hour. I offered her 13 bucks an hour and she took it immediately. She didn't even negotiate. So that means I probably offered her too much. You never know. I thought I was lowballing her already. But when you get the proposals, you'll get a better idea of like the actual going rates. Kalik says, also what caught your eye is how your student Google Analytics screenshot shows high volume of traffic to their sites. And okay, cool. And then do I exclusively cover Amazon Associates? So yes, I generally cover Amazon Associates. That is the primary focus. And next is around taking advantage of other traffic. So basically, the email list building and the other affiliate programs do cover other programs, but those are much, much more high level. I'll put it that way. So I don't go deep into, say, like adding ads to your site or anything like that. Right. Okay. So the primary focus is Amazon Associate sites. And next, your last question is that you are one of the guys that speak of flipping affiliate SEO. I don't think I've ever, correct me if I'm wrong, where did you see that? Because I don't think I've ever talked about flipping sites or anything like that. I've never flipped a site myself. I'm taking flipping as buying a site, doing work on it, and then selling it. I've never done that. So I'm not sure, but you may have me mixed up with a different person. And the answer of, do I flip frequently? I haven't ever. But I think that, that is something you could do with the tools from the site. The course, sorry. Natish says, 2 months back, you bought a site making $300 a month from Flippa. And today you sold it for 25,000. You made 20,000 doing just the flipping. Cool. Congratulations. It's pretty cool. Michael says, as a five-figure niche site student, you can confirm that Doug is readily available if you have questions that need more detail. And yeah, that can need more detail that need more detail that can be provided than trying to answer in this setting. Michael, thank you. Appreciate that. Cool. All right. And Michael says your first attempt at Upwork was not great, but now you have a great writer that you use exclusively. Cool. And that is why I do recommend, Kelly, that um you basically hire someone and like understand the mechanics and how things work, even if you only like hire someone like once per month, until you have more money to invest in writing. All right. And Kalik says, what you meant was selling off my sites. No, I don't sell them too often. I prefer the cash flow personally, but every quarter or so, I take a step back and evaluate that decision, looking at current earnings, my goals, which are sort of loose and ill-defined, to be honest with you. But every now and then, um, I look and I'm like, all right, where are savings at? If I sold the site, could we just retire right now? And as that becomes a closer reality, every now and then that's pretty attractive to just say, like, all right, that's it. So that's pretty cool. Now, Ray asks, you created your site 5 months ago and you haven't found my content until last month, so you haven't used the KGR. You applied for the Amazon Associate program earlier than you should have. You're worried that you might be kicked out because you may not sell any products. Is there any way to fix this? You're trying for guest posts now. You have 25 articles on the site. The way to fix it is to make the sales. Now, Ray, I would highly recommend that you check and make sure that you're not breaking any rules, because Amazon they immediately accept you into the program, and they don't review your site until you make 3 separate orders within 180 days. But once you do that, they go look at your site. If you're violating anything, then they will kick you out. If you are unable to make the sales within 180 days, then that's okay. You can just reapply and 180 days start again. So don't worry about it if you don't make any sales. But the way to fix it and make sales is to, publish KGR articles, get traffic to your site, make the sales. That's how you would fix it. That's how I would fix it. And Duke says, was Project White Hat sort of a flip? Well, kind of, but not really though, because we didn't buy the site. I joined up on the site. So I could be splitting hairs. Some people talk about flipping sites, where it's exactly like what Natish talked about, but I don't typically do that. Although I'm looking at, this is like new. One of my students has several sites, and I'm encouraged over the years, I've encouraged him to sort of thin his portfolio so he could focus more on bigger projects. And there's a good chance I may buy a few sites from him that have lower earnings and then see what happens. Like, because I have resources to invest into it, I could potentially, raise the revenue from say $50 a month to $500 a month, and that would be a great turnaround. And at that point, maybe I keep the sites, right? Like I said, most of the time I prefer the cash flow, but not always. So anyway, Duke, yeah, maybe a flip, but yeah, we sold the site. Okay, Berserk Gamer says, what plugins? And I encourage you to take a look at the FAQ page. There's a link in the description. I'll paste it here, but basically my main idea around plugins is I hate plugins and I minimize them. So there, you can go read about the plugins that I actually use right there. Asim says, one of your KGR articles was on the 7th page of Google and you started link building. Now it has 10 referring domains, but it disappeared from the Google results. Any comments? Duke has some good ones. The Google Dance, link quality, and link velocity. And yeah, I would say those are a good place to start. I don't know how old your site is. I don't know about your anchor text. a lot of that could be the issue. So ask them, as I mentioned before, like, since I can't actually get real details about your site, there could be like probably like 15 to 20 things that you're messing up on, but I have no clue. I have no clue what they could be. Marty says, who is one of the success stories, says, you recommend everyone getting the course while you can. You wish you did it a year earlier. Thanks, Marty. That's really kind of you to say. And he has a success story that we just published this week. So one thing that I'll throw in there to write on Marty's kind compliment there. So I usually don't do this, but I'm going to do a bonus for people that are able to like buy. I think I'll make the cutoff like 1 hour and a half from now. So if you buy within this window, I'll personally audit your site once you launch it. So I'll audit your first 10 posts. I'll have a look at it, give you pointers, basically a punch list of like what to look at. And for anyone that attended the webinar yesterday, just doing this sort of as a live bonus to motivate you to take action and get to it. So, and yeah, Marty, Michael, any of the students that are on here, I'll extend the offer to you because you're good guys and gals, and I appreciate you saying those kind things. So anyway, I'll audit your first 10 posts when you launch your site so that you know you're in good shape. All right. So the little bonus, I'm not even going to write it in the description. It's just people that happen to watch live. How long have we been on here? But yeah, just the people that have put the time in and watched me for 32 minutes here. So appreciate it. And like I said, if any of the students are on this, just let me know and I'm happy to extend the offer to you. All right. So a couple other things, some cool things in the system of 5-Figure Niche Site. So we have in the premium section, there's 4 one-on-one coaching sessions with me personally, where I can like analyze your site, really go in depth. You can show me your keyword research and go through it. And this is basically the same kind of coaching that Rob Atkinson, which he was featured on the channel. I don't know if people know it, but I published it probably a couple years ago. It helped Rob get to over $25,000 per month and Dave Fox to reach $5,000 per month. And it takes a lot of time and effort. I think there's only one slot available currently. Those are quite limited since it does take a lot of time from me. Additionally, you get access to the private Facebook group. A lot of people keep a low profile online, which I encourage. So people like Marty and other folks in the course, that's where they hang out. And I try to tell everyone to ignore all other social media and stuff. But basically the Facebook group is where you could hook up with people like Adrian and Marty. And yeah, basically that that is where you can get in touch with those folks. And again, there's a lot of Facebook groups out there. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of terrible like misinformation out there because there's people that read a lot and they consume a ton of information and then they sound like experts. Meanwhile, they may have done nothing at all. In fact, it's really hard for me to participate in Facebook groups just in general. But our group, everyone has skin in the game, like I mentioned before. A critical thought says, surely that's a given for $2,000. This is an expensive course, but literally, I stand by it as, potentially life-changing. And yeah, 100%, 100% stand by that. So yeah, it's expensive, but you get the direct line to me, which is important. So it sounds like Michael likes the offer. Adrian says, yeah, you went in on the offer. So guys, yeah, just email me and let me know. Duke says, do I want to audit your first 500 posts? It's pretty funny. We'll talk later, Duke. I'll have to come up with a special package for you. All right, Indian Mom Vlog says, hey, thanks for all your help. You learned a lot through the videos. You launched a couple sites and you're working on one at a time. Excellent. Perfect. Keep up the good work there. Appreciate your support. Marty says the private Facebook group is pretty good. You're in several, but it's one of the more legit, serious ones. Yeah, for sure. And I know one thing, I've gotten feedback, by the way, guys and gals in the course, I've gotten feedback that I should be more active in the Facebook group, and I have taken that feedback because I've heard it enough, and I know I need to become more active in the group. So with this new enrollment period, you'll probably see more activity from me. I will schedule it, and I will, make time for it because I know it's important. All right, Theo says, because on the Google disavow page, it states that most links will automatically be ignored by Google, and the disavow tool should not be used by most normal sites. If you have less than 100 links on your site, should you be worried about disavowing bad links? Not really. I would say if you have like a small number like that, that you can wait until hopefully your site won't get negative SEO, and hopefully if something happens and you get a penalty, you can quickly identify those links and then disavow those and hopefully not lose too much time. I mean, the tool works fine. They reevaluate it. It's unclear how long it takes. I've seen it take 24 hours, 48, 2 to 3 weeks sometimes. But basically, if you have a small number, you can manage it. When it becomes difficult is, let's say your site's like 3, 4 years old. Let's say you have, you know, 400 legit links that are fine. But then you start gaining like other links slowly over time. You don't realize it, but slowly maybe you're getting up to 900 or 1,000 referring domains. Well, at that point, if you run into an issue, it's very difficult to assess the 1,000 domains, and it takes a long time. That is kind of the situation that Dave Fox got into earlier this year. He slowly accumulated bad links, and at some point, some threshold was hit, and it took him a long time to recover the sites. All right. Couple questions. So Kelly says you haven't done backlinking. However, do you do it for all your individual posts? No. You do it for the site as a whole, and some people would want to link to affiliate posts. There's a couple, like either there's some videos out there that I've done where I talk about linking to affiliate posts. Also go to Niche Site Project, and if you just search for like guest posting and stuff, read all those posts. That's probably the faster, more concise way to get into it. AJ is asking about the course. It's a 5-figure niche site, my premium course on starting an Amazon affiliate site from start to finish. And there's a few different levels. I'll talk about it more in just a second, but I'll answer a couple of the other questions that popped up. So Ravindra asked, will I be able for one-on-one coaching sessions for those who don't take the course? Yes, I do one-on-one coaching. Oh, the other thing that I didn't mention is, actually, I'll answer the question and then I'll go on my tangent. So Ravindra, yes, if you go to nichesiteproject.com/hire-me, I've been doing more one-on-one coaching because some people, like maybe like you, Ravindra, the basics. Maybe you already have an existing site, and or you don't have time to invest in the course, or maybe you don't have time to go through all the course material over the course of like 12 weeks, and you just want the abridged version from me directly. That coaching takes a little bit longer, and it may be slightly more expensive if you need like the full rundown or something. But yeah, it's $247 per hour. The other thing I'll mention is if you're a student of the course, I give roughly a 20% discount on one-on-one coaching. So for example, if you enroll in the course, Georgia just woke up, so she was making a little noise. If you enroll in the course, but not part of the coaching package, then I can give you a discount if you just need like a little bit of help. All right. Ravindra, so yeah, if you just go to Niche Site Project, you should be able to find the hire me information. Lisa's on What's Up, and Lisa did coaching with me the other week. So Lisa, you could give your impression of the coaching as well. AJ says, how much do I earn in a month from affiliate marketing? I personally don't share my revenue. That's just my own personal choice. And you're debating whether you should go into drop shipping or affiliate marketing or focus on private labeling. My advice, AJ, is it doesn't matter. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter which one you get into. Um, but my advice is to pick one and stick with it for pick an amount of time, right? 6 or 18 months where it is 100% your focus. But if you try one and then you go to the other and then you go to the other, you're probably going to fail at each one. You're going to make mistakes along the way in any one of those or any other thing that you pick. You will make a mistake and it will totally be okay as long as you adjust. But if you make a mistake and then you switch and make a mistake and then switch, you've just failed at like 3 things and you didn't apply what you learned to do more. Marty does say you would start with affiliate marketing. You tried drop shipping and it was tough. A lot of people have said the same thing. You wish you stayed focused on affiliate marketing. And actually, I got a few questions in the last week from students where they were like, hey, my site's getting some traction. I was thinking about adding drop shipping. And I was like, you know what? I've just focused the whole time on affiliate marketing and like learning more and more about it and making fewer and fewer mistakes as I go and focusing on the nuances and, learning a little bit more, just a little bit more and becoming an expert. And I mean, in general, not always, but in general, my impression is it's probably going to be cheaper to get into affiliate marketing than private labeling for sure. Not 100% sure about drop shipping. You may be able to, because of the drop shipping model, you may be able to, get in for a little cheaper, but hard to say. With affiliate marketing, you can learn your chops in various areas. Okay. And AJ, I just personally, like I said, I select personally not to share my revenue, but other people do. And affiliate marketing can be lucrative as long as you give a huge amount of effort towards whatever you're working on. All right. Kelly says, frustrating recently documenting the positions of your post 39 to 75. It's really annoying, not to mention you're making $3 a day. We'll keep pushing through, identify the issues, and then try and fix them. All right. And Duke has a great suggestion. You might want to do a monthly audit of your links and then make a list of the spammy domains, but don't upload it. Just keep it handy. That's a great idea. All right. Next, Marty says it takes patience, but the overall cost to return is far better. No Facebook ad cost, and so on. Kalik says, is it true that if I get the basic package and able to upgrade in advance later? If so, what will the upgrade price be, or will it be a different price? Kalik, that is true. I don't talk about this often, but some people are like, hey, I want to be able to upgrade. And I don't know what the price will be. It is based on the price difference, right? So you can't start paying, say, $69 a month and then upgrade to $129. You have to make up the difference. Luckily, it's easy math for us to figure out, so we can just do the math and then take care of it from there. So it is true, you can do it, but I would, if you have the ability to get into the advanced group, those sessions are hugely crazy valuable. And by the way, I haven't even got to this part, but I've published all the other sessions like that I've done. So there are like 70 sessions in the archive. You can't get those anywhere else. And those are, stuff that you can go and check out. I don't recommend, it's like 70 hours worth of content. It's insane how much like the jump of content that you may get. So anyway, it's true. You can upgrade in the future. Adrian says coaching is awesome as well, but really if you don't experience it all, it's better to take, or if you don't have any experience at all, it's better to take the course first. Thanks, Adrian. All right, and Critical Thought says, it's hard to trust all these gurus. Clearly, at one point, you realized that teaching people how to do this would be much more profitable than actually doing it yourself. Only 500 for $1 million. So Critical Thought, I'm glad you asked that. And I'm glad you put me on the spot here. So for me, I make more money from my affiliate sites than I do from the course. And I think Critical Thought, I haven't seen your name in the live streams before. So I think maybe you're newer to the channel. But if you take a look at my channel, you'll notice probably over 50 to 60 free live streams just like this, where I just provide value. And if the course isn't for you, that's okay. I understand. Everyone's in a different position. Maybe you don't like me. That's okay too. You don't have to like me. But I can tell you that my free material on Niche Site Project, the blog, and on YouTube is better than most paid courses. So I highly recommend you just check that stuff out. If the course isn't for you, that is just fine. Thank you for asking, though. All right. Thomas says, question with the KGR. You find so many KGR terms that your head is spinning. If you follow the formula and the top 10 results don't give any good information for the KGR term, is it a go? Some of the domains have a high DA though. So yes, Thomas, I would say go for it. That is a good sign if you are able to focus on delivering the answer that the searcher is looking for. If you always have the visitor in mind, then that's perfect. Lisa says you definitely recommend to take the consulting from Doug. He can look at your site and I think I put a delay thing in there, but I'll let her finish that thought. So a couple things. If people have just joined or you missed it, there is a bonus that I'm offering for another 1 hour and 13 minutes for people that purchase the course, or if you're a student of the course, which it looks like there's probably a handful in here. But basically, I'll audit your first 10 posts once you launch the site, and then take a look at it, give you a punch list like, hey, you need to fix this, you need to do that. So highly recommend. And like I said, guys and gals that are already students, happy to take a look. Just shoot me an email and then I'll take care of it for you. All right. And we see that Marty mentions that I'm right about focus. It's a hard lesson to learn, but more focus into your site equals more success sooner. It's really insane. And talking to some of my mastermind friends whom I've known for 4 to 5 years at this point, we tried so many things. We tried to do services. We tried to do, like a portfolio of sites. I've tried to do actually multiple different services, because you may read a book like the 7-Day Startup. You get so pumped up, it's so persuasive, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, I tried it and it didn't work. On day 14, let's scrap it. If I would have stuck with it, I mean, it would have, like any number of the businesses that I've tried, it would have been fine. But yeah, it's really hard to figure out the focus. And like I said, as I talk to my mastermind friends and peers, it's like the more we're whittling off our projects and getting rid of stuff that's just taking up our brain power, like we're less stressed and we're able to focus and do more work. Pretty crazy. All right. Chris says, you love my work. What do I think of the time-roid technique in relation to the speed of ranking Google and new sites? I don't know what that is. Time-roid technique. Have I had any success with that approach? I haven't used it, but feel free to fill in details. I imagine other people know what you're talking about, but I don't. As far as ranking new sites, the keyword golden ratio, Chris, is the primary sort of mechanism where you could at least go after like low competition keywords and then get results faster. And we've seen like really good results with some of the recent success stories. Not necessarily the ones I published this week. Those are more, we're in 1 year. Here's what it can look like for you. Additionally, there are a few other videos like with Ellen and Jaron, Evan, Nick, and even Duke, who I think was at least on here earlier. Duke was on here on the channel where they published a lot of KGR content, and they were able to get traffic sooner, make profits sooner, which, if you're a beginner, it's really a good idea to do that so you can get some small wins. Otherwise, here's real life, right? You're telling your spouse or partner or friends about this business model that you heard about. And number one, people think you're crazy. Let me know in the comments in the chat. When you share this stuff about affiliate marketing, the reaction is what? It's like, that sounds like a scam. That doesn't make sense to me. How much can you really make if you're only making 1 to 10% commission from Amazon? And why are you spending so much time on this? How much money have you made? Has anyone heard those answers before? Let us know in the chat. And the last two are powerful, and it's hard to have an answer for them, right? It's really hard to have an answer for them because, number one, why are you spending so much time on it when you're like obsessed with something like we are, right? You could talk about this affiliate marketing stuff all day. You're watching YouTube videos like you are now, listening to podcasts, and you're reading about it also. You wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, that's a good domain name. I should buy that tomorrow, right? It's crazy. Don't do that, by the way. Just let it sit. But basically, I totally lost my train of thought. But at the end of the day, people don't know that they don't believe you that it works until like you are making some money. So those small wins I brought it back. The small wins are indeed important so that you could say, yeah, I did spend, 2 months on it, but I finally made like $100 here and it's growing. And then you could come back in a month or two and you're pulling in a few $100 like Marty, or like over 1,000 like Duke and Graham, for example. All right, cool. AJ says, perfect answer. Thank you. As we go through here. So anyway, Chris, yeah, feel free to add detail. AJ says, you were doing Amazon FBA, but had your US account suspended. So you're looking at other options. Gotcha. Kelly says, do I have any tips on how to identify why your posts would be dropping like a lead balloon? They're all 3,000 words plus. I would look at the number of affiliate posts. I would look at the number of affiliate links. I would identify, those would be the main things that I would look at. In general, that like you shouldn't have stuff dropping, but that would be the thing I would look at. Owen says, any plugins to increase the site speed? So like a caching plugin could be helpful. I would recommend a CDN if you don't have that implemented. Usually they work hand in hand with your caching plugin. And then the big thing is to make sure you don't have like a bloated, like code heavy theme. And then actually the number one thing before you do anything, make sure you're on a fast hosting package that can handle like the number of sites that you have and the size of your sites and the amount of traffic. So for example, you may have like a fast hosting package, but if you put like 2 or 3 other sites on there, it's going to slow everything down. There's a lot of overhead with WordPress. AJ, I do have a Facebook group. I think you could find a link, but to be honest with you, I don't do much with it. Not a big Facebook fan. There is a Facebook group for 5-figure niche site, and that has like a pretty tight community, good activity. Oh, and Lisa says about coaching, Doug can have a look at your site and give direction or see if something needs changing. You can ask questions in live chat. But if you can't see your site, then I can't answer the questions well. That is true. And I started with Lisa, I like recorded our session. So she's able to go back and watch it privately. I host it on my pro Vimeo account. So only she has access and she has the password. And that is like really valuable to go back and watch as we go through it. Adrian says, one thing to mention, the recorded sessions from 5-figure niche site are gold. Watch all of them. Those are one of the best things on the course because you can see how other people think. Indeed, that is very, very good. Duke says, yes. People are like, what are you doing with sites? Okay, Chris has a follow-up and says, for example, if you want to rank a review site, Google indexes pages that use best smartwatch 2018 faster and higher than best smartwatch. Oh, nope. I never tried that. Here's my thought. And I'm trying to, actually, we'll look behind the curtain in the business a little bit in a second here, but generally I'm not trying to do anything faster. So for example, I mean, it forces you into bad decisions if you have potentially bad decisions if you are looking at shorter term results versus like long term results. And if you have long term results, let's say I'm looking at like a 3 year, um, like a 3 year goal or timeline versus like someone's 3 month timeline. Well, if I'm only working on a 3 month timeline and I'm thinking I want to make the most money I can in 3 months, you're going to make certain decisions. So they could be good, they could be bad. If you're looking at 3 years, well, that changes things a lot, and you may be able to, do things a little bit differently and make better decisions that have a greater impact 18 months down the line versus like, 8 weeks away. So if you have that in mind, I think that could be you could make better decisions potentially. Duke says KGR ranks within 3 months. Other methods take 6 months to a year. Cool. Um, and yeah, Alwayne says, yep, it's true. Nobody believes in what you're doing. AJ says you get blank looks when you talk to friends or family about any kind of online business. And yeah, totally. And to avoid most of the crabs in a bucket negative feedback, you mostly remain secretive about it. Yeah, good analogy there. Yeah, and I mean, it took a long time for me to even like have the confidence to like share it. I think I maybe asked a couple of my friends in my corporate gig, like, "Oh, have you heard of this stuff before?" And maybe one or two of them said, maybe I don't know. I've never done anything like that." But then after I was making, some money, a couple $100 a month, then I like would share and tell them about it and stuff like that. Then when I got laid off in 2015 and gave it a go, then I mean the pressure was on. That's a period where I tried like 4 or 5 business ideas and eventually decided on affiliate marketing as a focus. I didn't like the service business, working with clients, not as good as sort of a coaching component versus the client stuff. I didn't enjoy it. And I knew if I like fast forwarded, 1 year, if this was successful, what would it look like? It would be me with a team and several managers. And I didn't want to create that kind of a business. Just, I didn't prefer to do that. All right. Um, Duke has a better answer than me. So there's too many variables for Kelly to answer the question. Check the backlink profile, keyword density, if it's a new site, patience, and so on. Yep. Latha says, or Indian Mom, I'm not sure if Latha is your name. Where are we at? Okay, affiliate marketing was difficult for you to mention to anyone and still is. You have a deadline to prove your results. Hopefully this time you're lucky. You just want to make $100 per month, which is a great like milestone. Like once you make $100 per month, like the sky's the limit, right? It's just doing more of what is working. And Marty says it pays off in motivation as well, and that builds on itself. Lisa mentions Duke. Duke was on the Human Proof Designs podcast and contacting manufacturers to get links. Yeah, great tip there. And those do work really well. And every now and then you may find that you get links, without asking. If someone sees your review from the manufacturer and they're sort of savvy, they may link up and say that they're featured there. Okay. Dallas says, is the course made for someone new, or would someone that does SEO for a living still get the majority of the benefit? I think, and I give very straight answers. So there will be some portions where you think, I already know how to do keyword research. I already know how to do link building or something like that. However, I believe depending on the SEO that you do, it may be hugely valuable for you to get the framework, the framing really, and the framework of the course. So it'll hopefully reframe like your keyword research. So you're focusing on certain things and reframe your link building, so you're focusing on certain things. Now, when you layer your existing skills on top of it, well, then you may have a really strong combination that you didn't have before. But if you do take the course, I'm not sure what your name is, but if you do take the course and you decide that you're going to skip certain parts, then it would, because you already know it, it would be it would, that would be a disservice to yourself, right? You should go through and even the stuff that you already know, see if there's like one or two things that you could learn. I think I've taken a few courses on sort of high-end courses between $1,000 and $4,000. And because they are expensive, I do every damn like worksheet, every single little thing. And you learn stuff like the nuances that you may have missed in something that you were, say, advanced at. And then it helps you become an expert when you are going a little bit deeper. So hopefully that helps, Dallas Digital Marketer. And I didn't mention this earlier, but there's a 60-day money back guarantee, which is solid. I ask that you send in the worksheet so that you show that you've done some work. But in general, I mean, if you don't like it, then I don't want you to have a bad impression of the course or my brand or anything like that. In fact, I've had some people ask for a refund, and then later on, they repurchase the course later. Right. So that's a little crazy. Or they've purchased another course or coaching from me. So hopefully that helps, Dallas Digital Marketer. All right, Theo says you're doing your last semester of college and you're thinking of becoming a digital nomad. Cool. Now's the time to do it, I guess, if you have those options. Um, yeah, I have a few interviews of digital nomad folks. Adrian says, remember in my interview saying that my wife was laughing at me for making a few cents per month. She didn't believe that it works, and I want to see what she says when you're making $1,000 per month. Very cool. Yeah. We'll have to do a follow-up interview at that point. Theo says, rather than doing a 9 to 5, do I think the Amazon affiliate program is here to stay for years to come and will be dependable as it is now? In general, yes. I will say that things change, right? Like Amazon is a fairly young company, super powerful and all that stuff. But I mean, another company can come and replace it if something happens, right? Or, think about how old Facebook is, right? People were like, what is this? I don't want to join it. I don't understand. Now, Zuckerberg is like testifying in front of Congress and like has so much power that like it's not a problem, but it's a thing, right? So I would say anything that is going to shift, Theo, is probably like we'll see it coming. It's not going to shift overnight. So you'll have flexibility. Now, I think I saw Marty mention about the skills that you learn doing this sort of business model or digital marketing, like the Dallas Digital Marketer there. Those will transfer to something else. They're valuable skills to have, even if the nuts and bolts are, I don't know if that's the right analogy, but even if the specifics change, if you know the principles of what we're trying to do, they will apply elsewhere. Affiliate marketing was around in a different form before the internet, right? It was sort of referrals to businesses, right? So this is just online. So it's just a little different. And now we do it online. So if there's some other mechanism in the future, we'll be able to do something. Okay. That's my thought anyway. All right. Next, we see Indian Mom Vlog says you were able to rank your first article on page 1, position 10. You purchased the domain 3 or 4 days before writing it, and you refreshed it a couple times, and you've never experienced it before. Excellent work. Keep it up. Another site you had a Google snippet in 17 minutes, but it's nowhere today. It's the Google Dance, most likely, like you said. Tamal says you're new to affiliate marketing and niche sites. Can anyone help you find a niche, or where can you start from? Tamal, there's a link in the description for the niche site process. Go to nichesiteproject.com. You can get more information. I do have a course that's open just for today, but if you're new to affiliate marketing, I suggest you take a look around first before you invest in a course, just to be honest with you. Duke says, when you tell people what you do on the side, you just let them know if that your site gets 500,000 visitors per year and they don't ask any more questions, right? Like, it's hard to argue with that. And thanks for all the plugs to the course, everyone. Really appreciate that. I'm catching up in the chat here. Anna says, how can I elevate the quality of writing of writers, knowing that you're not native English speakers and your English level isn't advanced? I would say two main options. So number one, hire an editor that's a native English speaker and let them know that you need them to edit it hard and like make it better. All right. So that's number one. Number two, if you're on a budget and you can't afford an editor, you can use a tool like Grammarly. I recently started using Grammarly again, and I'm paying for the premium version. I'm trying to see if I have my affiliate link in this description. I have a demo that I'll probably publish in the next day or so, but Grammarly used to be a little more buggy, but now it's working much better. I used it a couple years ago for about a year, and I just had a lot of issues with the Chrome extension, but now it seems to be running pretty flawlessly. I haven't had any issues, and I highly recommend getting the premium version if you are not a native English speaker, because it will improve the quality of the writing. The free version improves the grammar. It'll let you know if you have misspelled words or if you've missed a comma, if you have repeated words, stuff like that, but it won't improve the style or sort of like the voice of it. The premium version does. It's very, very good. And by the way, again, little behind the scenes, the FAQ section on Niche Site Project. So I wrote that in a pretty short amount of time, and the editing that I did was like the whole thing was greatly improved because I used Grammarly, and I was able to very quickly, write and then edit it and publish it, versus most of the time I would either have to get one of my virtual assistants to help edit it, to read over it, or I would have to go through and basically read it out loud to make sure it sounded okay. Editing your own work, if you're not skilled at it, it could be difficult. So anyway, Grammarly is a good way to do it. All right. Adrian recommends Grammarly as well. And Grammarly, yep. Ravindra says, how many minimum articles should one write on just one product category for topical relevance? The more product categories help A/B testing to narrow down in the future. What's the right balance? Typically, I would say 5 is a good starting point for that topical relevance that you're getting into. And I think Duke could probably add some more details. More product categories help A/B testing to narrow down in the future. What's the right balance? So I don't know the right balance. I would say focus on one area and then move on. Like once you're happy with that area, I don't think there's a right answer. And with the questions like this decision or that, you'll never know if you picked like the right one, because you can't go back in time. You can't test both of them at the same time. So just pick one, stick with it, and then move on. Georgie's dreaming over there. If you hear the barking, she's dreaming. I need to have like a Georgie cam so I could like flip over and you could see when she dreams, because I'm sure everyone really cares about that. All right. Duke says there is some fear out there about Amazon closing the affiliate program. This is because of the change of fees a year ago. That's true. Change causes fear. I doubt they will close the program. However, there are other alternatives. You never try to put all your eggs in one basket. You're using eBay, and it's actually comparable to conversions and revenue. Very cool. And I haven't done much on the eBay side recently. When I first got started, like 5 years ago, there was about 6 months where I was doing some eBay work. I wasn't doing like a comparable test or anything like that, but I made a little money, maybe like $100 a month or so. But I eventually was like, it doesn't seem to be converting as well as what Amazon is. So I at that point in time switch. But I actually buy stuff on eBay occasionally. So cool. And I think the other part is, and I mentioned this the other day, if Amazon, let's say Amazon closes the program, well, there's a lot of websites out there that get a whole lot of traffic, and we will find another. It's a free market, right? We'll find another monetizable mechanism or monetization mechanism, such as Walmart. Right? Walmart is probably a company I would look out for. I've mentioned this probably for the last 6 or 9 months, something like that. I mean, they have a comparable program in fast delivery. They have a 2-day delivery system as well. You don't have to join up. It's just 2-day delivery for most items, or you could like pick it up at the store. So I would say if Amazon closed the program, a lot of people would move over to Walmart. And I think just moving that traffic over there, some people may not buy as much from Walmart and may not convert as well as Amazon. But if Walmart is really pushing 2-day shipping, which is one of the big convenience factors with Amazon Prime, then it could be a comparable competitor. What's up, Duck Duck Goose? Theo is out of here. See ya. Have a good one. Paul says, why did I post for a job at the university last year? Was it full time? So basically, benefits. That is the main reason. So I applied for a job for a digital marketing manager at one of the companies that works out of the university here, Montana State. I didn't get the job. I didn't get an offer. But the other thing is, just because you apply for a job and get an offer doesn't mean you have to take it. You can look at the whole thing. One of the main reasons I applied, Paul, this is a really good question. One of the main reasons I applied is the majority of the people working there had PhDs. So let that sink in for a second. All right. Most of the people had PhDs and they were really smart. It was a high tech company. I think I'm trying to remember. I think there's can't remember, but it was, we'll say, between 50 and 75 employees. Most of the people are super smart, very well educated, and they have like a very diverse background. And it was a high tech company. All right. So, and I saw that there was a cool overlap between what I used to do in project management and software and what they wanted me to do for the job, which would have been like digital marketing, a lot of the stuff that we talk about here, just in a different framework for a company. So it sounded pretty interesting. And one of the things, it's a smart thing for people to do, surround yourself with people that are way smarter than you. Now, just because someone has a PhD doesn't mean they're smarter, but it does indicate that they were smarter, by the way, in most cases. But it indicates, they can set long-term goals. They work hard on stuff. They're solving interesting problems and they're working together on teams doing research, like kind of interesting stuff. So that is probably, so that was an aspect where I was like, this job sounds interesting, where I'm combining like working with smart people, doing digital marketing, and my, background as a project manager is an asset there. So I was like, hey, we'll give it a shot. The other thing is, to be honest with you, my wife was like, hey, like you could get good benefits from there. And if it's a job that I could do while I'm working on this stuff, which that was the plan, right? I wasn't going to stop anything else because most of the other work that I'm doing, it's not passive exactly, but it's very low upkeep. So Paul, that is the main reason why I did that. All right. And Alex says there's something wrong with the stream. It's lagging. I'm not sure. Not sure. All right. Indeed Mom is out of here. Paul, hope that answers your question. And Ravindra, Marty says to Ravindra, I wouldn't go too far writing, because if you're dedicated and you want to grow, then you'll need to redo some content later. Yep. Gotcha. And Duke says you have price comparisons on reviews only. eBay converts as well. Walmart, not so much. Interesting. And Duke says Amazon is paying like 22 cents per click, eBay at 21 cents. Wow, that is comparable. And Walmart at 14 cents. Very interesting. And a lot of times, I mean, Walmart's going to, eBay is going to be fairly cheap. I should check that out, Duke. That's pretty interesting data. Okay, if you're just tuning in, welcome. I have no clue how many people are on. Just 26. Okay, if you're interested in the course, five-figure niche site, do have a look. Click on the link. If you're just started in internet marketing or affiliate marketing, it may be too early for you to make such a decision, but there is a 60-day money back guarantee. I'm very generous with a guarantee. Um, Basically, I want people to be happy. So keep that in mind. If you buy in the next, it's like an infomercial. If you buy in the next 44 minutes, you're eligible for a bonus, which I'm only offering here. And then I mentioned it in the webinar yesterday. There's a deadline though, so you have to make a decision quick. Basically, I'll audit your site, your first 10 posts when you launch it. I'll go and have a look at your site, look at all the posts, give you a punch list to go through and fix things before you formally launch your site. I've never offered that before, and I extended it over to my friends in the chat who are already students because they're here. So that's how it's going to work. Any other questions out there today? And there are 3 levels to the course. So the most popular one is the advanced section, and that gets you the advanced units. There's 5 advanced units covering advanced link building, email list building. We have other affiliate programs, selling a site for over 6 figures, and the things you have to do to prepare for it. And finally, there are expert interviews with, I think, about 6 or 7, I can't remember, I'll just say 6 different experts out there who are niche site entrepreneurs. Okay. So it looks like there are no more questions. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Duke, and the other moderators. I think maybe it was just Duke, but Marty and Michael, Adrian, other students, sorry if I missed you. Thanks for hopping on. All right, I think we're done. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.